Why does a $20 restaurant pasta feel like a revelation, while your home-cooked version is a soggy disappointment? You've been told it's your technique. That is a deception. The betrayal starts at the factory, while marketing sells you Italian tradition. The reality is a manufacturing process closer to industrial plastic molding than cooking. Over 90% of supermarket pasta is biologically inert before it hits the box. The industry has traded your vitality for profit margins. In this investigation, we have identified 5 widespread brands that are failing your palate and 5 superior alternatives that earn their place in your pantry. If you stop watching now, you are continuing to subsidize a system that treats your dinner as a logistics problem, not a meal. Before we expose the brands cutting corners at the expense of your health, which pasta brand do you currently prefer in your kitchen? And have you ever experienced fatigue after eating pasta? Let me know in the comments below. Let's unmask the first culprit in your cabinet. Our investigation begins with a name many of you know, Colavita. You reach for this brand because the label whispers of Tuscan heritage and old-world quality. But there is a silent betrayal hidden in the fine print. It is often a chemically enriched macaroni product. When you turn the box over, you'll see a hazard cluster of niacin, iron, and thiamine synthetic additives used because the original wheat was stripped of its bran and germ during violent industrial processing. This isn't a health boost, it's chemical CPR for nutritionally bankrupt flour. According to labeling regulations, enriched means the grain's soul was removed for shelf stability, leaving you with a product that spikes blood sugar like a dessert. You can verify this at home by looking for a bright, unnatural yellow hue, the sign of synthetic powders. I'm curious, have you ever felt that heavy pasta coma after eating this? If so, stop buying enriched labels and look for pure semolina. This leads us to another brand that trades quality for speed. The second item on our list is a budget-friendly staple, San Giorgio. It's a family memory for many, but the reality is a story of structural failure. San Giorgio utilizes high heat drying to maximize factory output, literally burning the gluten proteins. This flash drying process takes just 2 hours at 200 degrees, whereas traditional methods take 50 hours. The result is a brittle, hollow noodle that snaps like cheap plastic in the box. When it hits the water, it lacks the muscle to hold its shape, often turning into a limp, characterless paste. Check your dry pasta. If it looks translucent and snaps with a sharp, glassy sound, it's been flash-dried. You should avoid these speed-dried brands if you value the al dente chew. This focus on saving cents over quality is even more evident in our next brand. Third, we examine a favorite for the bargain-conscious Aldi's store brands. While Aldi is a miracle for the wallet, their house-label pasta often suffers from a low protein deficit. To keep prices low, they frequently use lower-grade semolina with a protein content below 12%. Without high protein, the pasta cannot maintain its structural integrity during boiling, leading to a mushy mess that disintegrates at the 8-minute mark. This is a sensory betrayal that leaves you feeling full but never satisfied. Run a mush test next time if the ridges on your penny disappear. After cooking, the flour quality is substandard. I'd love to know in the comments. Have you noticed your pasta getting mushier lately? If you want a real meal, you have to look for brands that prioritize protein over profit. Fourth, we reach the market leader Barilla. It is the architect of the Teflon era and the most ubiquitous box in America. Barilla uses Teflon-lined dies to extrude their dough, prioritizing factory speed over the ability to hold sauce. Teflon is slippery, allowing machines to run at maximum speed without the dough sticking, but it creates a noodle so glass smooth that sauce literally slides off it like rain off a windshield. You spend $10 on a premium marinara, and it ends up in a watery puddle at the bottom of the bowl while you eat a naked, slick noodle. This is the sauce slide effect. You can check this by running your finger along a dry noodle. If it feels like a smooth straw rather than fine sandpaper, you've been sold an industrial byproduct. Swap the blue box for a rough-textured alternative to stop wasting your sauce. The fifth and final problematic brand is the modern health darling Banza. It promises a revolution through chickpeas, but the reality is a frankenfood experience. Banza is a triumph of marketing that relies on stabilizers and binders to mimic a grain that isn't there. The moment it hits the water, it releases a thick, foamy scum, a sign of industrial starches struggling for stability. The texture is often grainy and the flavor bean-heavy, a far cry from the silkiness of real semolina. We are so obsessed with macros that we've forgotten that food should actually taste good. The foam test in your pot is all the proof you need that this is a highly processed substitute. If you want protein, eat actual chickpeas. Don't settle for a grainy sludge that calls itself pasta. Wait, we need to look at the bigger picture. This isn't just about 5 bad brands, it's about a total systemic illusion. The industry has created a race to the bottom that we have been conditioned to accept. They use Teflon because it's fast. They use high heat drying because it's cheap. They use enriched flour because it's a convenient way to sell you nutritionally bankrupt waste. They have trained us to think pasta is a cheap filler. But when pasta is a cheap filler, it becomes a metabolic burden. Since the 1970s, the industry shifted from a food-first model to a logistics-first model. They aren't selling you a meal, they are selling you a delivery system for cheap carbohydrates. This isn't a kitchen problem, it's a public health crisis, disguised as a dinner staple. But there are 5 brands that have refused to join this race to the bottom. The first item and the first of our safe picks is Cecco. It sits right next to the giants often for just 50 cents more, but the difference is profound. Cecco still uses bronze dyes, creating a rough, porous surface that acts like a sauce magnet. Bronze is a porous metal that tears the surface of the dough, creating millions of microscopic hooks that bond with your sauce. You can see the dusty appearance on the noodle. That's the sign of honesty. When you cook it, the water will be cloudy. That's the starch you need to emulsify your sauce into a restaurant-quality glaze. It is the most accessible, high-quality option in the US. Go check the global aisle. Cecco is the baseline for a real Italian meal. Second on our list is Sclafani. This brand is often overlooked, but it is a masterclass in simplicity. Sclafani focuses on pure high-protein semolina without the chemical enrichment found in mass-market brands. Their ingredient list is just 2 items: wheat and water. There are no synthetic vitamins and no glyphosate-heavy domestic fillers. When you smell the dry box, it has a faint aroma of hay and grain, not the sterile scent of cardboard. This is a brand for those who want to avoid the chemical bandages of the big manufacturers. Look for the imported from Italy stamp and a protein count above 13%. It's a swap that your gut will thank you for. Third, we find the gold standard of heritage, Pastificio di Gragnano. This isn't just a brand, it's a protected geographical indication. Gragnano pasta must be dried in the specific sea air of the region and extruded through bronze to carry the name. This process preserves the nutty flavor of the grain and ensures a structural integrity that flash drying can never match. It is the ultimate slow food. You can verify the quality by the weight. It feels denser and more substantial than a budget box. This is the standard by which all other pastas should be judged. If you find a bag with the IGP seal by it, it's a vote for tradition over Teflon. Fourth is the true artisan Setaro. This is often found in specialty shops and represents the pinnacle of the craft. Setaro dries their pasta for nearly 3 days in the salty sea air, a process that allows the wheat to breathe and develop flavor. They use ancient spring water and heritage grain that has never seen a drop of Roundup. When you eat this, you don't need a heavy sauce. A little olive oil and garlic will suffice. It is the antithesis of the blue box. It is more expensive, yes, but you'll find you need to eat less of it to feel truly satisfied. Have you ever tried an artisan brand like this and felt the difference in your digestion? Finally, the fifth and final safe pick on our list is Rumo. This brand has gained a cult following for its lenta lavorazione, or slow processing method. Rumo guarantees a constant chewiness that never goes mushy thanks to a unique manufacturing process that respects the grain. They are transparent about their protein levels and their drying times. It is a premium experience that is becoming more available in US grocery stores like Whole Foods. Check the Lenta Lavorazione seal on the front. It's a promise of quality. Rumo is the proof that you can scale a business without sacrificing the soul of the product. We've unmasked the illusion. We've seen how speed heat and Teflon have stripped the soul out of your pantry. But you aren't a victim. You have the consumer veto. Every time you stand in front of that pasta aisle, you are casting a vote for the world you want to live in and the body you want to build. The choice between a blue box and a bronze-cut noodle is the choice between an industrial byproduct and a genuine meal. To take action today, I recommend 2 safe picks for your next trip. First, for your everyday baseline, choose Cecco. It is the most honest, high-volume pasta available in the US. Look for that bronze dye texture and the cloudy water it leaves behind. It is a small price increase for a massive leap in metabolic health and flavor. Second, once a month, invest in a bag of Setaro or Rumo. Experience what pasta is supposed to be when it isn't rushed through a factory. Look for durum wheat semolina and nothing else. Now go to your pantry. Pull out every box. Look for the word enriched. Look for that shiny plastic-like texture. If you find it, you know exactly what they're feeding you. Which brand have you been loyal to, and are you going to keep it after today? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stop letting them mold your dinner in a factory. Start eating food again. Today is the day you stop being a consumer and start being an investigator. Subscribe for our next breakdown, and remember, the label is just the beginning of the story. Disclaimer: this content is for informational and educational purposes only. The investigative style is a narrative format based on publicly available reports, manufacturing standards, and nutritional data. This video does not provide medical advice. Always consult with a healthcare professional regarding dietary changes or specific health conditions. Brand names mentioned are used for commentary and analysis under fair use.